Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adam's TV Podcast. We're here to recap the finale of American Idol Season 16, where Maddie Poppy was crowned the winner of American Idol. Well, I called it. All right, Eric, what do you got to say? Oh, by the way, my co-host, as always, Eric.
Hi, everybody. God. Adam, first of all, you look ridiculous, but congratulations on finally having your favorite win. I'm gonna be nice about it, honestly. Maddie is not my thing, but I can't be mad that she won out of the top three, at least. Because, well, first of all, I'm trying to count, actually. I'm gonna check when you talk next how many times I've listened to a winning single, because it's a lot. It's a big number. And I do like it a lot. I will say the way she handled her victory kind of won me over. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, she's a lovely person. Clearly, all the other contestants love her. I can't be mad. Okay, rub it in. Go ahead.
I just want to say this might have been my favorite finale of any American Idol season that I've seen. I got everything I wanted. Gabby came in third place. Maddie wins, has an incredible finale performance where she just, it gets you. It's the Idol coronations with the confetti and everyone's on stage and they're dancing. It's why the show is so much better and The Voice will never hold a candle to it. It's because it allows the winner to breathe. It allows them to have their moment, and just seeing her with everyone, the emotion, the music, it was just, I've watched it like 10 times by now. It was amazing. It was, oh my God, it was great. I just wanted to ask you, Eric, what did you think of that coronation performance?
Again, as I said, I really love how she handled it. I wish she sang more of it, but, it was nice that she gave everyone else a little bit of a chance to sing. And by the way, while you were going on about how happy you were, I was looking at my play counts in iTunes, and I've listened to her song about 23 times in the past 3 days, and I've listened to Gabby's actually about 18 times. So,
yeah, I've listened to Maddie's single a lot. Gabby's also wasn't that bad. It
was great. It was written by Ella Henderson. I love Ella Henderson.
It was written by Ella Henderson, who I've watched like one or two performances of hers on the X Factor, and it was the X Factor. Yeah.
It was X Factor UK. Yep. I wasn't a fan of her on X Factor that much because James Arthur was also that year, and James Arthur was freaking phenomenal.
The thing that I was thinking when the singles were just released, I remember it was like at midnight one night, and I remember staying up and I was just listening to them. It kept reminding me of an Ella Henderson song, Ghost. And I was listening to it and I was getting so much Ella Henderson vibes. And when it was announced that she was the one who had written the song, it just made more sense to me. It reminded me. But the thing is that Ella Henderson doesn't necessarily fit with Gabby. Like, Gabby kind of presents herself as a country singer, and the song that Ella kind of handed her was like a pop song, which is nothing against like Gabby. It's just not the kind of song that I would have picked for her. Do you agree?
I actually really like the song. I'm the one thing I'm going to give Kate a quick shout out. I know he wasn't in the top three, but his single was released today, and it was really freaking good. So, and Michael's was good too. Literally, 4 out of the top 5 had singles that I really, really enjoyed. You can guess what the 5 out of 5 would be.
We'll be talking about the singles a little bit later in the show, but let's really quickly go through some of the headlines from these 2 episode finale. So first off, Maddie wins.
Gloat.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Headline number 2, Maddie and Caleb kind of announced that they are actually a couple, which is kind of sinks my heart a little bit, but good for them. I was very happy for them.
It shouldn't sink your heart. It's going to get them all so many headlines. So you should be really happy about that.
Well, they duet. They have this incredible performance of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Maddie's going. It's actually, I think, on the charts of iTunes right now at 3 or 4. And I've never seen like an American Idol contestant get that far, except for maybe like Creep by Gina Irene a few years ago. And it's just so refreshing to see her like slowly take over some of the Voice contestants. And these episodes, these were Maddie's nights. Like, she got everything that she wanted. Like I got her win. That was like what I wanted. She got like a clean sweep from her. This was like everything perfectly happened, probably as she wanted it. But what did you think about that big reveal of their secret that they were holding in?
Well, I didn't think much about it because Bobby Rowan's ruined it 20 minutes before on Twitter. Bobby
Yeah.
Bones can't come back next season because he's just terrible. I mean, first of all, he's a terrible mentor, and then second of all, he ruins the big surprise for everyone who was looking at Twitter. So, yeah.
I also just want to say that who would have thought, like all the way back from top 24, that Maddie Poppy would have been the winner of the season? Oh,
You
wait a
did.
minute. I did.
You did.
And that's all my gloating I'm going to do but I could go on. So we are going to, I guess how we're going to do this is we are going to go through the performances. We're going to touch a little bit on the finale, some of the like guest performances, because it wasn't that much kind of that we have that many thoughts about. So we're going to go through the night one finale. We're going to go through each of the three contestants set lists, their strategies, where they went right, where they didn't go right. We'll kind of go through all of that. But do you have any final thoughts before we kind of get into the performances?
Thank you for keeping it short. Let's go.
Well, actually, I do have one last thing before we actually do get into the
Okay, go ahead.
Which is it's something against our draft, which, by the way, I won the draft with my number one pick. It's that when Maddie won, I was just thinking the amount of curses that she broke by winning this. Like, I think
I will say, I am really happy that a girl beat a white guy with guitar.
She is the first.
That's the extent of my happiness.
Yeah, she's the first time since Jordan
Sparks.
Since Jordan Sparks, where a woman beat the man. She's the first white female winner since Carrie Underwood, which is insane when you think about it. I'm just looking at my notes. She's the first Iowa singer. Like there were so many firsts from her. Like it was so going into this finale, Maddie was going against a Scotty clone and a Carrie Underwood clone. And also going even back to like the top 5 where you have the Cade, the rock singer, the classic white guy with guitar, and she beat all of them. And now we're going to go into Caleb's performances. So Caleb opens up the night one of the finale. He has his set list. He performs 1st, 4th, and 7th. And his set list for the night was his single, Johnny Cash Heart, Don't Close Your Eyes, his reprise by Keith Whitley. He performed it, I think, in solo rounds during Hollywood Week, and also his hometown dedication for his final performance, which was Folsom Prison Blues. And I just want to say, when I saw that he was going to be performing first, I kind of felt like the first night was kind of the de-pimping of Caleb. I feel like the producers did not want him to win, and they kind of structured
blatantly obvious.
They structured the night, they structured the criticisms because they clearly did not want him to win, which kind of brings me back to my idea that there might have been a possibility that Caleb was running away with this, possibly maybe the entire season, and this was the point where they kind of pulled the brakes on him, so just to give Maddie just enough space to beat him at the finish line.
Honestly, I agree, but I think they would have been fine with Gabby or Maddie beating him. I think, honestly, I don't think they had a favorite between the two, but I think their plan was anything but a white guy guitar, and they got what they wanted. So,
the thing is that they structured the night in a kind of way with the themes where you have the reprise, your solo, and your song dedicated to your hometown and your single. And they stuck him with Folsom Prison Blues for his last impression. And that is not a moment song. Like you look at Maddie doing Landslide, that's a moment song. Even if you look at Gabby, which we'll talk a bit more, I could a little bit maybe see how Don't Stop Believing, if it was done in an entirely different route than what she went, could have been a moment. Caleb, Folsom Prison Blues was not a moment. He was not going to have like an, oh my God, this is an amazing moment, I have to vote for this person. And I feel like if the producers wanted, they could have switched up the order, have him go with his Don't Close Your Eyes last. Could have maybe changed the results a little bit. But I wanted to get your opinion on how they structured these themes. Do you kind of agree that maybe it was done in a way to de-pimp Caleb?
I think everything was done to de-pimp Caleb, which I appreciated. That first that first critique from Katy Perry was brutal. That was my least favorite performance of yours from the season. I like you though.
It like I said, though, it really does lead me to believe that Caleb was, if not the winner, was not winning the fight.
Here's how I think it happened. I think that if he was running away with it, they wouldn't, and they knew they didn't have a chance to beat him or stop him, they wouldn't have done it this way. I think it was close, and they knew that if they put the brakes on him, then that someone else could win. That's what I think was the situation.
The thing is, all season I always saw like Caleb almost like a villain, like he was the one who was going to come in just because he's the white guy with guitar, and Maddie's going to be there, and he's just going to snatch it like the title away just because of his looks and his country appeal. But I just, looking back now, knowing that he hadn't won, I feel so bad because he just does seem like such a genuinely like a good person, and I do.
Lovely.
The thing is, now that I know that he didn't win, I feel like I could go back and enjoy his performances without like the terror in my heart that he might have a shot of winning. And
I'm not going to go that far because again, it's not my thing. But never as Maddie, never as Gabby, really. Anyway, I will say, I'm going to talk about his 3 performances now real fast.
Okay, go ahead.
So Johnny Cash Heart, I can't stand any song that has another artist's name in the title of the song. I'll say that first. I can't think of a single song like that I like. I did. The busing was impressive. The busing was more entertaining than his performance. Don't Close Your Eyes was better than the first one. I still don't think it was worthy of winning Idol. I actually wrote down, I wish he wasn't so likable. Probably out of fear because he was going to think he was going to win. And then Folsom Prison Blues, I didn't like that, which is a problem because I've loved ever covers of the song. On my blog, again, thoughts.ericasher.com, subtle plug there, I linked to Josh Krajic's covering the song. He was on X Factor US Season 1, and he nailed it, and this just wasn't good.
I agree. Which do you think was his strongest performance of these 3?
Of the 3, Don't Close Your Eyes.
Totally agree. I feel like if the producers had decided to put him last, he might have actually had a shot of winning. But it's just, in my opinion, the amount that it took to like take that away from, like, to de-pimp Caleb, I feel like Caleb probably would have won without the de-pimping. And if he had gone last with the Don't Close Your Eyes, like the amount of, because this is the problem that I feel with American Idol, like the girls, they have to be perfect if they want to win. Caleb, he can get away with a few performances and probably still have won. And that's just what just kind of I was noticing so much is that with Caleb, he could flub his lyrics. And if some things had gone differently and they had structured the night differently, he probably still wins. Whereas Maddie, who's performed flawlessly every single performance, pretty much every single performance, and she could still lose just because she lacks that white guy with guitar status. It's just something I've noticed, but nothing against Caleb. Leaving the episode, I was thinking that Caleb was very likely our 3rd placer, but that's actually not how things pan out. He actually ends up being our runner-up. And what do you think that says for the show, for someone who kind of doesn't have their best performances and still beats out so many other contestants?
No comment. First of all, I'm gonna gloss over what you said that Maddie didn't have 100% flawless performances. I'll let that one slide. But I will say that yeah, I mean, it's not a good thing that Caleb could beat all of these amazing artists. But again, knowing the history of Idol, it's not really surprising either.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on Caleb's set list? What did you think about his strategy going into the night? Because I actually thought that he had a pretty sound strategy. I mean, he kind of stuck to his lane. He did exactly what I would imagine he probably should. He just kind of didn't have a moment performance, and he kind of did mess up. But I feel like the idea, like looking at his set list going into the show, I thought it was a pretty good lineup. Do you agree?
Yeah.
All right. And on that note, I guess we will move on to a contestant who I feel like we're going to be talking. I have a lot to talk about. I don't know if you have a lot to talk about. It's Gabby Barrett. She goes second, 5th, and 8th. Her set list is, first off, she's doing her single, Rivers Deep, uh, Little Red Wagon for her reprise, and Don't Stop Believing by Journey. Let's
not Journey on American Idol, Journey the band.
Yeah. And I just want to say that this was kind of a mess of a set list. I wasn't really sure where she was kind of going with these ideas of this performance lineup. I feel like there was a lot. She could have made so many better choices for herself. Just switching up some of the songs. What did you think about her set list?
Okay. Well, the one thing I would change, I think Don't Stop Believing was good. It was probably my favorite of the night. I saw that. Those eyes say a lot. But let's see. I think Little Red Wagon was 100% the wrong choice to reprise. I'll give you that. If she picked the Prince song, How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore, I think she would have gotten second. I do. But I think Little Red Wagon was too generic, to just nothing performance, basically. She sounded good on it, but yeah, wrong song. Rivers Deep, I thought, here's my thing about for winning single performance. She did a great job with it, but I think the middle of the performance was quite a bit weaker than I would have liked. It finished strong and it started strong. The middle of the performance was kind of rough. So I was a little surprised the judges weren't enthusiastic about it, because of how hard they've been pimping our whole season. And then Don't Stop Believing, I liked it. I wasn't blown away by it. And then Steve Perry came out, and we got all the pimpage I thought we were going to get for the rest of the night.
I do have a bit of a theory for why she ended up picking Little Red Wagon, and I'm going to just float this over to you, and you kind of tell me what you think. I believe that the contestants probably weren't able to pull from Prince night. I bet that they were only allowed to do it for that one performance night. So, all right, so you take that out. So now you look at the rest for set list. I would probably say, like, go with I Have Nothing, but then maybe her thought process is probably that maybe I just did it. I think it was last week that she did I Have Nothing.
Yes.
So, all right. So maybe she's thinking I shouldn't do that. All right. So now what else is left that she could pull from? She could do The Climb, which I would have honestly probably said, if my theory of her thought process is correct and she couldn't do the Prince song, I would have said do The Climb, or honestly even go back to her audition song when she did the Eye on the Sparrow. It's the very Christian. It's a big Christian anthem that I feel like really would get people voting for her. Don't Stop Believing, I feel like maybe she might have been like pushed into it a little bit. But on the topic of Don't Stop Believing, I just want to say I actually was watching her performance on YouTube, and it's actually got more dislikes than likes. And I have never seen so much like hatred and vitriol like spewed at a contestant before than what has been thrown at Gabby Barrett. If you go on Facebook, there are so many people calling her fake, calling her horrible names, when I don't kind of agree with all of these horrible things that people are saying about her. Sure, I'm not a big fan of her, but I don't think people should be that harsh and critical of hers. I know we've been a little bit critical of her, but we're talking more in like the American Idol sphere, but some people are calling her horrible things out of it. Have you seen some of the things that people have been saying about her?
I've been blissfully ignorant.
Blissfully ignorant?
Yes.
All I'll say is don't go on Facebook and don't go on Reddit, because there's a lot of, I've never before.
Here's my weird thing. I don't know honestly what to say. Yeah, whatever. I will say that actually, speaking of The Climb, actually, I think that would be the one that she should have done, for the big reason that actually, Maddie did her song that she has on iTunes. Gabby on iTunes has The Climb and I Have Nothing on iTunes. So she should have done one of those.
The thing is that this set list didn't play to her strengths. Like, if you look at Don't Stop Believing, like, it's not country. It's a huge rock anthem. Like, when you think of it, your mind instantly.
I will say about that, though, I appreciated that she didn't just stick with country tonight. I like that she took a risk and did something a little different.
I feel like if she wanted to win, she should have stuck with country, honestly. I feel like, well, as history tells, she didn't stick to her lane. She kind of tried to do something maybe a little bit different, and it didn't get her there. But if I'm her coach and I'm trying to get her a winning set list, it would probably be his Eyes on the Sparrow, Rivers Deep she's got to go with it. And her third song, there's got to be a better dedication song, honestly. I feel like Don't Stop Believing was the nail in her coffin. Especially what really did it is that a lot of the audience, I feel, was very against Gabby, probably throughout most of the season. And this was just a reason for people to more so dislike her because of the obvious pimpage, where they bring out Steve Perry and he's there. Like Stevie Nicks magically materialized for like Maddie. It was like such blatant like manipulation that I feel like at this point people were kind of onto it and it just kind of turned them off from it. Do you kind of agree?
No, not entirely. I mean, I agree that, I honestly think that The Climber, I Have Nothing would have been better than anything Christian for her, for my tastes at least. I'm not saying for her win. And Don't Stop Believing, I'm sure it could have come up with something better, but I didn't hate it. So
Don't Stop Believing, it was missing the epicness. Like there's when I watched the Glee version, there's so much like it was just lacking that like the chills inducing moments. And there's the thing is she kind of ends the song without like the big note. Like the band is still playing and she's like done singing. Like it kind of just fell flat for me. It was kind of missing that the big moment where you get chills and everyone's like standing. It just wasn't that for me. But another thing that I think lost her the win is that she was calling people out on social media. She was kind of not painting herself in the best look on Facebook. Her sister, I think it was her sister, was kind of saying some not nice things about commenters, which I don't know. I don't even know where to begin there. I feel like the thing was that they kind of painted Gabby. She kind of turned into this season's villain. And there's nothing like the audience loves more than seeing the villain kind of get their comeuppance. And I feel like the producers were kind of pointing it in that direction. They were kind of leaning towards her not winning the show. And yeah. Also, I wanted to ask, will you be willing to pay the $25 for a social media shout out from Gabby Barrett? Because that's a new thing that she's doing on her website.
No comment.
No comment. That was kind of weird. I was reading about it. I wasn't so sure. Anyway, so I wanted to ask, where did Gabby go wrong?
I don't know, honestly. I think personality is the big thing. I think the fact that she didn't paint herself as super likable was her downfall. I think.
Yeah. All right. So, any final thoughts on her run?
Nope. I'm good. Honestly, I wasn't super invested in any of the top three, so whatever.
All right, so moving on to our champion of the season, it's Maddie Poppy. She gets the pimp spot for each round. First off, she's doing Going, Going, Gone, her original. Next is her reprise. It's Don't Ever Let Your Children Grow Up.
I will say, though, one quick comment, though, about getting the pimp spot. It was random to how they selected who got what order, they said.
She still had the pimp spot, though.
She did, but it wasn't on purpose. It was by coincidence. Okay, continue.
All right, so she does Don't Ever Let Your Children Grow Up, which was her Hollywood Week solo, and Landslide by Fleetwood Mac. I just want to say I'm going to be starting this tradition. The crown, it's going to be for if a contestant of mine ever wins the draft. I don't know if Eric is willing to ever put on a crown. If he ever wins the draft, which
I will not be caught dead in that.
It will probably never happen because I've won every time. But we'll see. So Maddie's set list. I just want to say that going into her set list, I thought this was a brilliant group of songs. It kind of painted a story that of her kind of growing up. That was what I was kind of getting the vibes for, like Landslide, Don't Ever Let Your Children Grow Up, and then Gone, 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 Going, Going, Gone. I almost said the Philip Phillips song. It painted the story of her from the top 14 and the top 24, where she was kind of saying, I didn't even think I'd get this far. It's just her showing that she could rise above it, like the song. And the thing is, her winning, in my opinion, represents a shift in American Idol. It shows the difference between American Idol on Fox and American Idol on ABC, because it was, in my opinion, when she actually gets crowned, I wasn't watching the show when Kelly Clarkson won, but it kind of, I imagine that was kind of what that was like. Like if this is the reboot and this is season 1, then Maddie is our kind of...
It's not season 1. It is not season 1.
Well, ABC is calling it season 1.
ABC is wrong.
I'm just saying, if this is a reboot and they're looking for the Kelly Clarkson, she kind of filled that role in my opinion.
No.
She just created such a brilliant story, is what I'm saying with her set list. Do you kind of agree?
No. I will. I'm not going to go nearly as far as you did. I will say, Going Gone was good. Don't Ever Let Your Children Grow Up. Not my thing. I found it boring, but it was smart of her to do an original song. I'll say that. And Landslide was her best of the night, but even so, again, not my thing. But yeah.
The thing is, if you look at Scotty, Gabby, and Maddie, you could
Scotty.
Caleb. Sorry, they're basically the same people. I mean, that's because this is where I'm going with the thought. So Caleb, if you look at the board of Idol winners, if you look at our top 3 and then you look at the winners, you have Caleb is Scotty, Gabby is Carrie Underwood. Who's Maddie? Maddie's her own thing. Like
I will agree with that. We will, as much as she's not my thing, we have not had a winner before like her.
And I feel like this is going to set a precedence for future seasons where we're going to get more singers like Maddie. And in my opinion, it's just she sets the tone for this reboot where she is starting off in a totally new direction than any of the previous winners have. And it's just something I appreciate so much about her. I mean, her single, I really, really enjoy it. It's catchy. It's like a fun anthem. It's just so enjoyable. Her Don't Ever Let Your Children Grow Up. I think it wouldn't have been my pick for a reprise. I would have gone with, I don't know if she was allowed to do her Sinead O'Connor song, or I don't know, maybe Homeward Bound by Simon and Garfunkel. But I liked it. It showed off her songwriting ability, and that's something that sets her apart from the other two. I feel like she's just so much more special with that. That's like such a powerful weapon of hers. And Landslide, I'm just going to say Landslide was, in my opinion, the performance of the night and maybe in my top 5 for the performances of the season. It's just, there was magic in her, and that's why I picked her from the top 24, top 14.
Top 14. Don't give yourself more credit than you deserve.
And the thing is, I was so worried that she wasn't going to win because I felt like her winning was so important. This season needed her to be the winner because without her, it would have seemed so anticlimactic. If Caleb won,
I'll say this: out of a top 3, I'm fine that she won. If you switched the top 3, I wouldn't have been happy.
I just want to say that it's just also so, because she performs last and she goes with a Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, the fact that Stevie Nicks didn't appear, and for Gabby they had Steve Perry. Yeah, the fact that they didn't kind of lit a fire in the American Idol fan base for the people who kind of are a little bit more wise to the manipulation, and it kind of made them want to vote more for her, in my opinion.
Here's my thing. I would say that the pimpage was stronger for Gabby, but then Katy Perry literally takes out her phone and starts voting for Maddie. So,
all season, I feel like at this point, I feel like it's pretty obvious that the producers really wanted her to win. Going back all the way from top 24, where they were kind of crafting this narrative of her kind of rising above her doubts, and it's in my opinion, I've started watching season 9. Do you think I should say? I don't know if I should say, but I'm going to say she's a top tier winner in my opinion. Like since season 9, I haven't watched Kelly Clarkson's run. I haven't watched Carrie Underwood's run. Just on the seasons I've watched, I would honestly say she's probably my favorite winner. Is that too absurd to say? You're probably going to say her and Nick Fraudiani, I'll say, are probably my 2 favorites. Maybe Candace and Philip Phillips kind of, but like the reason like Candace isn't my favorite is because I was rooting so badly for Janelle Arthur and Angie Miller, and neither of them.
You just never get lucky. So
I never get lucky.
You found okay. The more contestants you admit that you like, you say that you liked, and that they didn't win. You know what? Good for you. You finally got one. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, that's why it's so much more special because this was such a It's the first time I've ever had someone. There was Jax, there was Gina Irene, there was Holly, there was, oh my God, I could go on. There was Siobhan Magnus. It's just, the list goes on, and I've never had one of these winners ever, and it makes it so much more special. It's like I'm a fan of what ABC has done with this show. I'm totally on board with it. Do you agree?
Okay, so there were 2 different parts to that. I'm gonna ignore the comment thing about Maddie. I'm going to take the question you just asked and say, do you like how ABC handled Idol? And I will say, with the exception of the abbreviated live shows, 100% yes.
I feel like that was necessary, though. I feel like
No.
the thing is,
I think they could have added 2 more weeks.
I guess the thing is, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I just want to. This is like a totally unrelated tangent, but when they rebooted, when they rebooted Star Wars, they said that the next movies are going to be for the fans, and I feel like, in my opinion, that taking that and applying it to ABC, I feel like this season of American Idol was for the fans, and I feel like it had like I feel a sense of like closure at the end of this season. Like I feel like everything is right in the world. Like it all made sense. Like everything was good. Whereas if Caleb or Gabby won, I wouldn't have felt that way. And I feel like with Maddie winning, it just makes me so much more excited for the next season. Right?
Nope.
All right. Well, I'm totally going to disagree with you, and America disagrees with you because I've got the crown.
That is totally fine. Again, it's personal preference. It's not. I'm not saying Maddie's not talented. I'm saying she's not my thing, and that's fine. We can all have our things.
So coming off of those performances, who in your opinion did you think was going to win?
I genuinely had no idea.
No idea. I
was flip-flopping all day.
I feel like once there was a strong part of me that thought that Gabby was going to win, and when she didn't win, when she came in third, which by the way was like such a huge shocker when it was down to those two and they announced Caleb going through. If Maddie had come in third, this would have been like a nightmare situation. Thank God she didn't. But here's another question. So we have our top two of Maddie and Caleb. Gabby comes in third. Do you think if hypothetically we have another week of performances and our top two perform again, we have Maddie and Caleb go head to head, do we have the same outcome?
No.
Really?
I don't think so. I'm not entirely sure though. I feel like Gabby's fans would have 100% gone for Caleb. I mean, it's just genres, but I think that the final three finale was how they got a girl to win.
Some people in the chat are asking why I'm wearing a crown. I'm wearing a crown because a few weeks ago we did a draft where we picked the contestants.
How many people are in the chat?
2. We did a draft, and I got to pick up all the contestants on the board, and I picked first, and I picked Maddie, and I won the draft with Maddie. So I am the king of the season. But anyway, that is our finale, and now we move on to the real finale, part 2. What did you think about the entire finale, the second night?
What I think of the finale? I thought the first hour that was kind of a slow trod. Nothing really exciting me in the first hour, with the exception of Cade Dennis and Gary Clark Jr. I thought that was good. And Dennis sounded really great on that song. I was not expecting at all. And Journey sounded better than Nick Jonas. The opening performance, I couldn't see any of it, honestly. They had way too much smoke. And I was thinking, like, I asked Brian, actually, the guy who filled in for me a couple weeks ago. I asked him, because he was in the audience, Idol. I asked him, I tweeted at him, was that performance pre-taped? Because if it was, then I thought it was pre-taped at first. I'm like, why didn't they do a take 2? Because the sound mix was terrible and I couldn't see any of the performance. And then so he says, no, it was live. I'm like, okay, that explains it. It's all forgiven. And then, yeah, that's my take on the first hour. Those are all my thoughts on the first hour.
There's kind of a lot to get through of the finale, so we're kind of gonna breeze through them. We're just gonna go through some major points of it because there was like, do you really want to? We could go into a whole discussion about how Lionel did in his opening performance, but we're kind of just gonna stick to the contestants. We'll go through some of the bigger notes of the finale, and in my opinion, the first big note of the finale was Nick Jonas comes out and he does a performance with some guy named Mustard who I've never heard of. And by the way, I just want to say that I was so inspired by this guy that his name is Mustard. And I just want to say that from now on, I want to be called by my favorite condiment. So I'm going to be Ketchup. So you should all call me Ketchup.
Well, you're wearing the Burger King. You're wearing the Burger King crown.
Oh,
so.
You know what? All right, I got a better one. I'll be Relish. Because this is now how rappers are picking their names. They're just picking their favorite condiments, and that joke didn't really work. Anyway.
You're right. That hit like a dud. Okay.
I tried. At least I put the effort. So Journey and Nick, they come out, they do a mustard leaves, probably to go on a burger somewhere. And Nick and Journey do a
You're
duet
killing me.
they do they do a cover of Jealous, my favorite Nick Jonas song. I was kind of digging it. This was kind of cool.
I will say, I did tweet during it that I'm like, wow, this is an actual duet. Journey's not just singing background to Nick. And I liked that. I appreciated that.
I did. It was pretty good. I like Journey. Shame she was cut so early, but
it should have gone further.
I love these duets. This is, in my opinion, like when I was rooting, like in the early seasons, I was rooting for Holly, and it was just like one more week, and you get to duet with like you go. I totally blubbered that. You get to go on tour, and then if you get another week, you get to go to a duet at the finale, and it's just, in my opinion, it's the highlight. Getting to see like a celebrity come out and kind of sing with them. It's just something I always look forward to, and I really liked it. But there was one. There were a few contestants that they brought back that were kind of questionable, and we didn't bring this up yet. And I kind of want to pivot a little bit and go back to the first part of the finale, where they have all the contestants who performed, some of the contestants who did original songs, who have, I think her name was Harper Grace. She did Yard Sale. Johnny Brents did Blue Jeans. Michelle Suzette did I'm a Dreamer. And don't laugh. And Katie Turner doing 21st Century Machine. And I just want to say, I have so much appreciation for ABC. Like, I feel like if this was on Fox, those 5 minutes would have been for Jennifer Lopez to do a song about throwing a grenade. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the song being about throwing a grenade. I just remember her shaking her ass on TV for about 3 minutes too long. That's what I remember.
Yeah,
and as a gay man, I don't need to see that.
I just want to say, I like that they're willing to bring these contestants back. Like, it shows me that, it gives me hope that like Maddie's going to be in good hands. Like, all these contestants are they might still get some pushing in the future. It's just something I appreciate, but we've gotten off topic a little bit. Next, we have a weird kind of contestant that gets brought back. It's no, wait, actually before that, I jumped ahead. It's Gabby and Luke. They do Sunrise, Sunburn, Sunset. What'd you think of this performance?
Hate the song. Gabby sounded good. That's it.
And on that note, we're going to move right on. We have Dennis and Cade. They're doing a trio performance with Gary Clark Jr. Bright Lights. Solid performance. I really like this one.
Well, this was my favorite Cade performance when I did it by myself of him the entire season. And they actually do it with the original artist. That was cool. And Dennis sounded amazingly good, because I would have never expected him to sing this song and sound good on it. So, again, Dennis, every time I see more of Dennis, the more I like, and the more I feel he was robbed. So, okay.
I agree. One of the standouts of the night, in my opinion, that performance.
It was definitely in my top 3 duets of the night.
And then we move on to a performance that I thought was, in my opinion, one of the best of the nights also. It's Maddie and Kermit doing Rainbow Connection. And I just want to say, I was watching this and I was so confused because I was listening to Kermit sing and I kept thinking there was something about his voice that sounded off. Like he just sounded different. And then I read up and it turns out there's this whole controversy where I feel like, I think I read that the original guy was like fired, the original Kermit Frog, or he stepped down or he was fired. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on that. And they have a new Kermit, and it was just it was weird, right?
Well, the whole thing was weird because it was a Muppet on stage with with Maddie, sorry. But I will say, yeah, I noticed that the Kermit didn't sound good, or the guy holding up the Kermit puppet didn't sound very good. So yeah, I noticed that too, actually.
Yeah, but I really liked it. I mean, everything. Whenever Maddie's on stage,
those are fine. I mean,
whenever Maddie's on stage, I just have a smile on my face. But
I was laughing my ass off. I'm sorry. I really appreciated it. But have you ever get to sing with actual celebrities and she's stuck with a frog?
Who else would you have put with her? Would you have brought out Sinead O'Connor?
No, I would have. Here's who I would have put. I would have put
Prince Hologram.
No, stop. Well, here's my thing. Actually, Maddie already got the perfect duet partner for her back in Top 24, Colby Calais.
Oh, yeah, good point. I would have brought back Colby Calais, honestly, but I not to take anything away from this performance because I did really enjoy it. Next, we'll kind of there's a lot to get through here. So next we do have we're gonna kind of talk about these two together. We have a segment where a contestant from who was kind of I think top 48, Noah Davis gets his alpaca, and another kind of like a funny lighthearted segment is Sanjaya makes an appearance.
Okay, I do have comments about. I have no comments on the first one. The first one just was like classic Idol who gives a crap filler. Jimmy Kimmel was hilarious. I enjoyed that.
Some people were saying Jimmy Kimmel wasn't that great.
They're wrong. I mean, the Sanjay eating Clay Aiken joke I'm like, drop the confetti now. That was the moment.
I did like the part where he pulled out the dog that Randy Jackson is always talking about. That was kind of funny.
The other funny thing is that he kind of did like the like self-deprecating stuff. He's like, I feel like Carrot Top. I appreciated that line too.
Speaking of Jimmy Kimmel, there actually after the episode aired, there was kind of this special little
thing
that happened on his show.
I enjoyed all of it except for the fact that Haley Reinhart was lumped in with all the joke contestants.
No, there was Ruben Studdard and Taylor Hicks were there.
But they were in a separate room. So they weren't lumped in.
Yeah, they had the Chewbacca lady. It was pretty fun. I didn't watch that season, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it except for the diminishing of Haley.
But we're kind of going to skip over a few of these performances. We're just going to talk about some of the highlights of the night. In my opinion, one of the top two performances of the night was Katie and Katie. They do a performance of Part of Me. I thought this was incredible. Do you think so too?
100% agreed. We can agree on something today. Yay! This really made me wish Katie made the finale because, God, this was the best duet of the night for me until it came out. But we'll get to that.
I think I read somewhere that that Katie was given I'm not sure if this is true, but I remember reading it somewhere that Katie was given. They gave her the option; she could pick any Katy Perry song of her choosing.
Ryan said that.
Oh,
right.
Which was, yeah, pretty good job. The thing, every time I hear this song, I'm actually brought back to a contestant on the X Factor.
Oh God! Don't talk about CC. CC's responsible for my sign.
We're gonna talk about it just really quickly because there's the one line in this song. It's Katy Perry sings. It's the song. The lines go. It's you chewed me up and spit me out, and now look at me. And I remember on the X Factor when Cece sang that song, and she looked like a mess, and she said, "Now look at me." It's like a villain, like a Frankenstein experiment going wrong a little bit. But I was rooting for Cece Fry.
I was too because I got this sign out of it.
The legendary Cece Fry.
I do need to bring up for people who question where the sign came from. I know no one gives a crap, but I'm going to say it anyway. Cece Fry did a performance of All by Myself. It was
amazing. It was amazing.
Shut up. It was so horrific that Britney Spears literally had one comment, and the LA Reid saying all these negative stuff. Then was like, "Ooh, boo, hater," and I was like, "Let's go to Britney now." And Britney just sits there, leans into her microphone, and says, "Sorry, I just don't get it." And that's it. That's that. They go to Simon. And I just laughed my ass off.
All right, so moving on, we move on to another performance. That was okay. It's Yolanda and Michael doing What the World Needs Now.
I thought it was more of an okay. I thought it was great.
Just okay?
I thought it was more of an okay. I thought it was great.
Oh, I liked it.
You said it was okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pretty good. I don't really have that much to say about it, as I feel like I always do with Michael's performances. Yeah. I mean, it was good, but
I enjoyed it. And then Ada came and shut the whole thing down. I thought
another reason to talk about CC Fry.
All right. No,
next up,
no, not CC. Let's forget CC ever sang that song. Let's talk about. Well, Fleur sang that song and did a good job with it. But the real comparison is Fantasia.
So let me just. It's Ada Vox. she performs. I always get confused. She performs with Patti LaBelle. They're doing Lady Marmalade, and in my opinion, I feel like on paper the producers were kind of hoping this would be another Jessica Sanchez and Jennifer Holliday doing. And I'm telling you, this was not that, but it was pretty enjoyable, and there was a certain.
I will say, for most of it, I thought it was close.
Really?
For a couple, it went off at a couple parts, and that kind of, actually, know what? Speaking of Fantasia, it was only Fantasia and Joshua Odette's duet back in 2011. Remember that? Where parts of it were
I choose not to.
Well, parts of it were really, really, really good, and parts of it were like really bad. It was that, but I still think Ada deserved to make it a heck of a lot further than Ada made it. So
somewhere in that mix of all the performances we went over, which I think we only just skipped over like a few, we actually get the results. We get the top two. We lose Gabby, and I really hated how they handled her elimination. I'm not a fan of Gabby's, but like they say the results and then they kind of shoo her off stage. Like I feel like we were missing that, like the I think I'm gonna leave right now. The goodbye packages.
Yeah, I think that if you're not gonna have a goodbye package this most season, that's fine. Have it at least for first and third place.
I agree. I feel like it was just like, all right, now chew. Like we got our top 10.
I agree. I will say the winning moment also kind of felt a little rushed. Maddie got it was enjoyable, but it was only like literally from the winner is to Ryan saying goodnight, 3 minutes 30 seconds.
Before we get to that though, I just want to. So we get our top two. We have Caleb and Maddie. We get the couple. We get the reveal that they are dating, and my heart shatters just a tiny bit. And then they do the duet of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. They actually do it holding hands, which was pretty cute.
I wrote, well, that was cute, very cute together. I just wish they sang better. Nice to see them win a vacation.
All right, I got a question. Which couple is going to last longer? Caleb and Maddie or Gabby and Cade?
Caleb and Maddie.
Really?
From what I could tell, honestly. I think so. I mean, they really look like they were into each other. I don't think either of them are going to make it, but who knows?
Yes. All right, so we move on to the results. We get Maddie and Caleb. They're on stage. We get the reveal. Maddie has won American Idol. Confetti. She starts crying. They do the performance. All the contestants run on stage and they're hugging, and it's the Idol moment. I actually, somewhere on my phone, which it will never be uncovered, I actually filmed my own reaction to this.
Can we not see it?
You don't want to see it.
I want to see it. I want to see it. Don't share it else. You need to send it to me. I won't share it with anyone else. But
no, if I'm going to share it, it's going to be for everyone. But it was
damn it.
It was not a pretty.
I really want to see this.
Maybe I'll post it. I'll make a deal. If to people watching, if the podcast can get 50 subscribers, I will post it on Twitter. If that happens,
let's lower it to 30.
50.
30.
No, 50. Okay, 30. Maddie wins. Confetti screaming. There was one moment during her final performance where she's like crying and she hands the mic and she calls for Michael. Michael's nowhere to be found. So
I appreciated that.
Katie starts singing. This is in my opinion why Maddie deserved to win, because even though she won, she was willing to share her moment with everyone. It reminded me like at the end of like of a play when like every like performer comes and takes a bow, like the mic getting passed and each contestant kind of getting like a second or two.
Wait, the one moment that reminded me most of actually was Caleb's winning moment. Do you remember that?
I blocked that out of my mind.
Go back and watch it. I know it'll be
going back to watch it.
Go back and watch it. Caleb literally stops her performance like after a line and just goes and hugs everybody for the entire first verse and doesn't sing at all. It was that.
Anyway, beautiful. Katy Perry just like at one point starts trying to grab the mic out of Maddie's hand.
I can't remember the lyrics.
And you see her like turn and she has like an awkward look like, oh my God, the camera's watching me steal like the mic out. out of Maddie's hands. But when the confetti falls, it's closure for me. Like this is the wrap up. It's just it makes me feel like at least this moment is something that I'm like going to cherish. Like it's just to follow a contestant and finally, after so many contestants, to finally have a winner just warms my heart a little bit. That's actually this season. Do you have any final thoughts on the episode?
I'm happy for you. That's all I'll say. I'm trying to keep it really nice today because you've earned it.
I've earned it. Damn it. So, all right. So that is the episode. There's going to be a lot to go through. So I just want to go through these bullet points a little bit quickly. So we do have some announcements for the podcast. So that is the end of the recap episodes of Adam's TV podcast for American Idol. I want to say that Adam's TV podcast is going to be growing over the summer. We've got a pretty full schedule. So next week on Tuesday, America's Got Talent premieres, and Eric and I will be recapping the season here. That's the first announcement. Pretty excited for that, right?
Me too. Excited? By far my favorite of the American shows. So I'm excited.
More than American Idol?
Yes.
Well, okay. So we're going to be back to recap that starting next week. More information on that will be revealed. You can follow me on Twitter to keep up with it. Then
we'll probably have our first episode on Wednesday, is my guess.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to Adam's TV podcast is going to be. I'm going to be taking on twice the load this summer. So I'm going to be with you. I'm going to be doing America's Got Talent. And when American Idol was canceled, I discovered a new show. Well, it was kind of before American Idol was canceled. I discovered a new show that I've kind of really, really fallen in love with. And I'm so excited because I'm going to be recapping it also this summer. And my co-hosts are going to be Ryan, who was on the episode a few episodes back. It's going to be Big Brother, one of my favorite summer shows ever. I've actually applied to be on it a couple of times. Story time for another time. But I'm going to be doing it with Ryan, and we're actually going to have a second co-host. It's going to be Jason. More information on that we'll talk about later on. You can follow me on Twitter to keep up with that. That is not going to be airing until the end, I think, of next month. I think it's at the end of June towards where we're going to be starting to do the recap. So there's going to be a lot of more content coming your way if you are a fan. And before we really close the show, I just want to say to all my viewers, people who have watched these episodes, thank you so much. This was just something that I decided to start like one day. It was something that I've just really been into the show. It was something I really wanted to do. It's something I enjoy doing. These podcasts are so much fun for me to record. It's something I really look forward to and enjoy in the day. And I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who's been watching, who's going to be keeping up with us. If you want to subscribe, it would just mean so much to us. Eric, I also just want to say thank you to you for agreeing to do this with me. It was a lot of fun. You did a great job.
I didn't hear of a thank you. I mean, I kind of writing that kind of crap down, but I'll assume you said thank you for doing this with me.
Basically.
Okay. You're welcome. I enjoyed it. It was really fun. Despite it, we had arguments, disagreements.
And I won every single one.
Disagreements. No, you didn't. You won in the end, but whatever. I really enjoyed it, and I'm happy we're going to continue because AGT is on starting next Tuesday, and that's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Can't wait for some good golden buzzers.
Oh, I can tell you right now, the first episode is going to end with a golden buzzer, and that person is going to win.
No, not necessarily.
All right, so I just want to say this actually isn't the end of our American Idol coverage. We are going to have one final episode of Adam's TV Podcast centered just on American Idol. More information on when that's going to come out is not quite sure yet. Still have a few details. Not sure. It might be tomorrow. I'll be updating on Twitter. It's going to be our season recap, season kind of like review. We're going to talk about the highs and lows of the season, our hopes for season 2. Just kind
season
of
17.
Season 2, season 17. We're going to go through all of that. That's, like I said, more information to come on that. We're actually going to I'm going to try to maybe in the future have a special guest on for an episode. Can't say anything more than that. But yeah, you could follow me if you want to keep up with me. If you haven't had enough of me, you could follow me on Twitter at AdamSoapbox. You could follow my website, adamstvblog.com, or my personal website, adamsoapbox.blog. Where can we find you, Eric?
Eric_Ascher on Twitter. I'm on YouTube, fox.ericascher.com, my personal blog. I'll be posting my notes from this episode. And yeah, just want to end by saying this has been awesome, despite yeah. I've really enjoyed this season of Idol overall. I mean, the final three wasn't my favorite, but overall there were a lot of great acts this season. I was really happy with it. So
It was a good season.
I would say it was a good season.
Top tier?
No, but I'd say it's middle tier. But
where do you rank Maddie on your winner rankings? You know I put her number one.
Well, so I'm gonna start from the bottom, and I'm gonna say he was worse than her. Scotty I didn't like as much.
You putting Scotty at the bottom?
No, Scotty's not. Well, for me personally, Scotty's at the bottom. Again, personal preference. I think Lee was a little bit. Taylor Hicks was worse. Ruben Studdard I didn't like as much. Fantasia I didn't like as much. Let's see, who else did I not like as much? Yeah, that's about it. So she's probably like 5th or 6th from the bottom.
So, final question. This is the last one I have. Of this batch of contestants, who is going to be most successful?
Who's going to be most successful?
Yep.
Despite me not liking her personally, I think Maddie has a shot at a big career.
And on that note, I'm going to agree with you. And I'm just going to say thank you guys all so much for joining us. This has been a blast. I enjoyed it. Until next time, we'll see you. Before America's Got Talent, we'll do our final season overview recap for American Idol. And thank you so much, guys. Peace.
Adios.